Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. So did you watch the last two class? Did you get the time to watch them, Mark?
I haven't had time to watch the last one,
Okay.
so I'm not exactly sure where we are.
Okay, so I'm going to so go to the page 1843. I'm going to run through the few page there just to so that you
Okay.
have the context. So Krishna is in response to Arjuna's request of the list of all his vibhutis, the glories of the Lord, for the sake of upasana. So Krishna start relating, presenting, describing these glories. And what is significant is that he presents Nirguna Chaitanya as the number one of his glories. And this is typical of Vedanta because we are Vedanta because we are the paths of knowledge, and we always present the ultimate truth that you are free, limitless conscious existence of non-dual nature, and that is the true nature of the Lord. This is the true gift of the Lord to give us consciousness so that we can have an instrument of experience alive, and in which we can enjoy our conscious existence until we understand that it is of the nature of non-duality, meaning to say ananda. So the glory, the ultimate glory is that which is behind the mind and the intellect, which is consciousness itself. This is the greatest glory, says Swamiji, because without that, we don't have any conscious existence of our disposal. So I'm also and saying, like I was talking to Lynn about that. So how are you gonna get that? And then Swami there concludes, say, of course, in order for the person to understand this glory of the Lord, the person should be a yoni. And for that, one needs to go through the Vedantic process of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Otherwise, one will not be able to appreciate the greatest vibhuti of the Lord, which is consciousness itself, conscious existence of limitless nature. And then he says, therefore, the Anyanis, for the Anyanis, this Nididhyasana is not going to be possible. So for the Anyanis, but not for the Vedantins. Vedantins is all about doing Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana until this understanding of this true ultimate glory of the Lord as consciousness is our very intrinsic nature as demonstrated in the Upanishads. Okay, so the Vedantin is the one in the process of making that knowledge hard and fast and firm and always available, not subject to forgetfulness and doubts. Is a doubtless certainty of knowledge in respect to one's true nature, identity. So therefore, this is very much appreciated by all of us Vedantins, irrespectfully of the level of conviction or certainty or fortitude of this self-knowledge, which may vary from person to person. It's important to say that self-knowledge must be there so that the person say, I know for sure what I am. So the self-knowledge is a doubtless self-knowledge, but self-knowledge before it becomes a doubtless self-knowledge is still a sort of self-knowledge because I know I understood everything, but there are still some challenges here and there. There are some old habits, old tendencies still clinging to my identity as Aham, body, mind as me, but I know that my nature is Brahman. Therefore, I'm only dealing with those final obstacles, which is just preventing me from appreciating and enjoy my true nature completely, free of doubts and obstacles. So it's the process of it of we say indirect knowledge or self-knowledge, but it's the self-knowledge is not absolutely uh, certain and firm and clear to an extent that there is no doubts anymore. We call it doubtless self-knowledge. So this is a kind of process, okay? So you can see as indirect. Indirect is when it's really about, I know everything about consciousness, Brahman, in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads, but I still see consciousness and Brahman as something out there that I have to gain, accomplish, or achieve. So that is from the angle of, but then you may get the knowledge and know that it is your very, very true, intrinsic, real nature, you know. So now you are dealing with knowledge that has moved from indirect to direct, but still there will be doubts. There will be doubts, old habits challenging this new sense of identity as conscious existence. Okay. Okay, just bring that. So this Lord Chaitanya is the the real cause of everything, but it needs the power of Maya, of course. So it is Jagata Karanam. So it's the real cause. It's a causeless cause of the universe, and cause the universe, as we know, without doing anything, but just by accommodating this power of Maya Shwara, that projects this apparent order in which Ishvara, Jiva, Ishvara, Jiva, Jagata emerge. Swami talks a little bit about the practical psychological significance of these statements, because the problem of human beings is a sense of insecurity, vulnerability, limitation, inadequacy from the psychological angle. And you must go to try to understand the nature of Ishvara. So, and the best is to understand the nature of Nirguna Ishvara, because only then you will understand those declarations of identity between Jiva Atma and Paramatma. So you need to understand the nature of Nirguna Brahman. But Swami said already, for most people, it's very difficult to understand the Nirguna nature of Shvara as Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman. But there are several psychological benefits. One of them is that will remove the sense of insecurity, especially if you understand the nature of Nirguna Brahman as your very nature. It requires some trainings. Sometimes Swamiji puts it in terms of training, and I at the beginning I had a little bit of trouble with this concept of getting trained, but I find it beautiful nowadays because we are organic biological computers, and we need to go through a process of training to develop this vision of reality from the standpoint of I am consciousness, not the body mind. So this training is going to serve only for canceling, neutralizing the mistaken knowledge, or assumption that I am the mortal, limited body, physical body. And then we're going to have a training that is going to put things right so that I am establishing my true nature identity as consciousness. So it's a training. It's a training. Huh? It's not a mystical experience that comes from nowhere, unless the training was done in past lives and so on, and then out of the blue you are fully realized. Okay. And that takes us to the verse 21. I am Vishnu among the Ajityas and so on. I am the luminaries. I am the Marichihi among the Maruts. I am the moon among the luminaries of the night. We have seen this one yesterday, the other day. So Swami says that this enumeration is something related to Lokika Vibhutis, the glories which are obtained in this world. But there are some other glories that are presented by the Puranas, which now here he's talking about things of this world, So he's going to explain, and it's there in the previous because I had to go reading and working together with Lynn last time, and then I think we did an okay job. And then in the previous class, it comes clear the the unfoldment here presented by Swamiji about the Vedas and all these kind of mythological, Puranic aspects of the Vedas. And then he says, among all of those devas, I am Vishnu. And then he talks about the sun as that which provides us with life, without which life is just very quickly it's over on this planet. So therefore, the sun is a wonderful Surya Deva is a wonderful symbol of a glory of Ishvara. We are already moving in terms of Saguna Ishvara and its glories, and the sun is a huge glory on the macrocosmic level. So. And then Swami reminds us in the Vedic tradition, it used to be that they get up before the sunrise so that they can do some pujas and to glorify, to appreciate this incredible blessing, which is the gift of life through the energy coming from the sun. The sun is rising. We should be already up. And then we use the sun as the Lord. This is the suggestions only, We know that it's much healthier lifestyle to get up early and to go to bed early. But not necessarily we need to do the puja to the sun, okay? Because we are Nididhyasakas, we can do pujas all the time, which are not pujas, we can just appreciate and enjoy the ultimate glory of the Lord as consciousness shining in the human intellect as aham, I am, I exist. There is nothing more beautiful. It's the ultimate glory of the Lord, as Swamiji puts it. So that's why they say we should wake up. We see this. Then Mari Chirmarutan, a group of devatas are known as Maruti devatas. Different colonies in this heavenly locus, different types of colonies are supposed to be there. In each one, different types of benefits you may get from association or pujas or rituals done to these deities. You're going to get some punya. Upon the amount of punya we have done, we will be, and then the ultimate is when we leave the body, we're going to go there. So we are not really interested in that, unless some of us are, and I don't know. But in one colony, 24-hour water supply, Swamiji says, why? Because there in India, there is a problem with water supply. And then there is a projection that the sun is the most valuable factor, and then water as well, otherwise we don't have life. So, and And then in this loka, it said that there is a 24/7 water supply, the purest possible water. It's just mythology, and projections, and it is all these lokas is just a reality composed by emotions, ideas, desires, and fears, and all of that makes the mental world. In the mental world, they are there whenever there is. We are not hooked up with a physical body here. It means to say the subtle body is not associated with a physical instrument, and then it's floating in these mental arenas, these mental realms. More or less like the dream state. If we do a lot of punya to these maruchis and so on, we may go to one of these colonies. And then we have a lot of good things there, good food, good this, good that. You can even become one of the devatas if you do so much puja. You get too much punya. Among that, a set of devatas are called Marut Ganaha. They are 49 in number. They are supposed to preside over Vayu Tattvam. So there are different types of Vayu Devatas preside over the wind. So now we are moving over to these other set of Devatas, which is provide over the water. That's why maybe Swamiji says that there is 24/7 water available there, isn't it, Lynn? So among these 49 Maruti Devatas are Marichihi. He presides over the beautiful breeze, which will make us feel very pleasant. So now he's talking about the Vayu, the Devatas presiding over. You see, the elements are being presented, okay? And then they bring about Devatas. They bring about colonies or lokas where these deities, these representing the elements preside, Quite frankly, I don't understand much what we can make out of all of this, because it's Puranic, it is esoteric by nature. It does not really mean anything in terms of self-inquiry and self-knowledge. It's mythological, but it's better than reading stupid novels or stupid American magazines that we'll buy in the supermarket. Marichi means that tender breeze. Therefore, Krishna says, I am that. I am that breeze, the best possible breeze. Among the luminaries of the night, I am the moon. Okay. In the night, we cannot see the sun, and then we get the reflection, the biggest reflection, the only reflection of the sun, because the others, they are stars, they have their own light, supposedly, I don't know. But we don't get the sun, we get the moon in the night. So among the luminaries there, because all of these, these luminaries at the night, they can be seen as the glorious aspects of the Lord, So the moon is something very lovable, appreciated by poets and artists. So planets are there, moon is there. Among them, I am the attractive, beautiful moon. Therefore, I am in the form of Chandraha. We do not remember the moon, so we see the moon, but we don't remember that is the Lord shining as the moon. We can put it those way. Everything is the Lord shining, and it's beautiful. so many poetries were written to glorify the moon without knowing that the moon is the Lord. The verse 22nd, I am Samaveda among the Vedas, I am Indra among the gods. We have seen the Indra. I think it was in the Ken Upanishad, the story of the Indra and the other devatas, that they got very arrogant and vain. So Indra is the boss of the gods. Among all the Vedas, I am Samaveda among the Vedas, and I am Indra among all the devas. I am the mind among the sense. I am the intelligence in all the beings. And now we start getting now more into our cup of tea. Let's talk about the mind, the intellect, and so the Vedas themselves, the most sacred literature, directly come from the Lord. So that's what our scriptures say. And I have full confidence and trust in the scriptures. Okay. If you don't have that confidence that Jesus' scriptures were not originate by human beings, but they were revealed by human beings, and then one should investigate that lack of Shraddha, because that may be the main obstacle for our spiritual growth. Okay, so there are laws governing everything in the cosmos. And of course, there are some spiritual, moral, ethic laws as well, which are mostly relevant to the human jivas, the one with free will, with the responsibility of choosing, and and exercising choices, which is something very difficult and complex, dealing with causality or karma. So all of these teachings, they come revealed to us directly from Ishvara, using whatsoever Shakti to download these teachings to the mind of the rishis, the so-called rishis, so that it can remain alive up to nowadays through paramparam, going from generation to generation. So I have no doubt that this did not originate by anyone, and but it's just a gift from the Lord. I mean, the scientists may find some laws of physics, physicists, no? Physics. And you say, oh, I discovered this and that. No, you discovered not. You just tapped into those laws which are holding this meteor structure together. They belong to the Lord. They have been there all the time, before and after. They remain still and manifest. So the same thing, these spiritual, ethic, moral, psychological laws, they are there as well, and they are extremely relevant from the standpoint of the human jivas, mainly, only, Therefore, we have to understand that these are laws. Okay, we find the God's laws and principles, don't violate God's laws and principles. These are laws, God's laws. The human beings' laws you cannot trust. They are twisted. They are subject to corruption nowadays. Nobody follow any laws and so on. They change the constitutions all over the planet. So these are God laws. These are teachings. Remind us, that to live here happily, we have to observe these laws and principles, and we need to purify through this understanding until we develop the qualifications to go into Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, to understand the finest and the most wondering vibhuti of the Lord, which is the very consciousness shining in the human intellect as aham, I am, I exist. And he says that among the Veda, I am Samaveda. So I'm explaining that Samaveda is the only Veda which is music by nature, therefore everybody loves it, is the most attractive. And the others, they are structured in a different way. But this one is especially beautiful. Therefore, Krishna claims, I am Samaveda among the four Vedas. This is for the people who cannot really get in contact or get a feel or get an understanding to the ultimate glory of Nirguna Chaitanya, our very nature. We should remember, so we should remember we use the word God in two contexts. One is God with a capital letter, which is only one. Who is the Lord? Maya Shahita Chaitanya. Who is Saja? Okay, that Lord is only one, and that is written with capital G. Okay. Okay. So that is the ultimate God, the Nirguna Chaitanya, Nirguna Atma. Then we use the word gods with small g. They do not come under Ishvara Tattvam. All those gods are also Jivas, only created by Jiva. Da, 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 da. Okay, let me revise here. So he's talking about deities that are human beings that somehow raised to the status of being devatas due to a lot of puja and a lot of sadhanas, observance of God, development of virtues, and so on. He says those are just jivas only. Created jivas they are, but occupy these heavenly lokas and being many times worshipped by us incarnated souls in this realm here. But the Lord, God with the capital G, most probably means Saguneshwara. Let me see. Then we use the word God with small g. They do not come under Shwara, okay? Shwara Tattva, the nature, Saguna nature of Shwara, might come as just these deities. And because of their punya, they have got powers, they have come under but they do not come under God, and these gods also come under samsara. This is something that a lot of people have trouble, because when you start getting into spirituality, people believe that they are not samsaris anymore, They are doing all kinds of pujas and rituals and adoring this deity, that deity, dreaming with more punya because I want to go to this colony here, colony there, this dimension. So, and people, when they hear that this is also a samsari, you are being samsari doing that. And here, Swami puts it totally transparently clear. These gods, they may have all kinds of higher powers, but they come under samsaris only. Because of their punya, the efforts, the sadhanas, they have gone to heavenly lokas when they leave the body. And because of the punyas, they have some supernatural powers, and they have got some enjoyment, just exhausting punya over there. But you should remember, once their punya is exhausted, they may come back even as animals. Therefore, the gods with small g is very much plural in numbers. They come under jivahas that raise to the status of godlike humans. But the Lord with the capital G is not jivaha, it's not anyani. He's Ishwara, the Lord Ishwara, the creator, the Saguna, not because of Punya Papa, because he's beyond Punya Papa. Okay? So here, when we write Devanan, we are talking about only the superior jivas because of the Punya Papa. and among the gods celestial, I am Vazavaha. So again, this is all descriptions of Saguna aspects of the Lord, glories of the Lord. Even Ishwara, yeah, is a Saguna aspect of the Lord, the supreme power, supreme intelligence, with all its laws. And then we have the Jivas, raising to the status of God-like human beings due to their punya, accumulation of punya. Because of their punyas, and among the gods celestial, of all these jivas, anyanis that go to this locus, I am Vasavaha, means Indra Devata. Oh, Indra, Mr. Indra come with another name. I don't know why they keep giving so many names to the same people. It makes things confused for us. No? Indra is the controller of all. Remember, Indra also comes under Jiva only. The beauty of that story that we have seen, okay, the Puranic story, is that Indra being the ultimate god, the boss, the controller of all gods of all realms, he had to recognize that deity made out of light. And although he was not bragging about the victory of the devatas against the asuras, he had to go there, and he had a much better attitude than the other devatas, and immediately he understood that was Yana, that was a source of knowledge, and he immediately said, give me the knowledge. It's very much humble. He had so much more Sattva Guna working for him, but yet he's just a Jiva who is hanging there in one of these celestial colonies, and he had so much punya that maybe hundred thousands of years go by and he does not come down. Okay, so such is his status there, but it's only a jiva, it says here, Swamiji. He's occupying an Indra post because of accumulation of punya as human beings incarnated, and he can continue to be an Indra until the punya is totally exhausted. And afterwards, even Indra will have to be born again. If he gains Antimayanam, he will be only then liberated. But otherwise, he will be subject to more rebirths and more rebirths and more rebirths. Therefore, Krishna says, I am Indra, the boss of all devatas. You guys feel free to interact and say something as well.
I was thinking that even if Indra and all these other gods can be born again, then it just shows you that the mind really has to be disciplined and pure. You have to get to a point where there is no remnant of limited desires and so forth, that satisfaction.
Yeah.
But the total satisfaction only comes after all that manana and surety, and so it's a big job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Swami puts in a very simple and easy perspective that those are samsaris as well. They are religious and mystical samsaris. And the problem is they may enjoy all the pleasure of this locus, but then they have to come back as ignorant as any other person, because he did not work on knowledge. He worked on developing punya, by observing Dharma, by developing purity and virtues and so on. That is a totally different game. A Jnani is not a saint. A Jnani is somebody who dedicates one's life to knowledge in respect to one's true nature, investigation into the nature of reality. So any one of these gods, says the scriptures, our scriptures, they haven't done this job, therefore they come back, and then hopefully they come back with a new desire for knowledge rather than more and more Dharma, more and more.
Yeah. I love that. A Jnani is not a saint. That's
Yeah.
good wisdom.
And then Krishna says, Indrayanam ahamasmi manaha. Among the sense organs, I'm the mind. It's beautiful. So we know that sense organs that is there in the subtle body, and the mind is the that center that coordinates and integrates the 5 channels of perception into one single experience. So among the sense organs, I am the mind, the one who integrates, coordinates all of these inputs into one single experience. Okay, so he's just saying, so in the subtle body, I am the mind. Later on, he's going to say, I am the intellect. Among the sense organs, I am the mind. And why Krishna claims I am the mind? Because every sense organ is capable of function only in one particular field. So, and what the mind does, the mind integrates everything. Otherwise, you have an experience of sound, taste, vision, sight, and you have everything, and then you scatter like that, and you don't have really a properly integrated experience. So the mind is the big deal here. The mind is capable of function through all those fields, because the mind is going to be there blessing all the sense organs, all these channels, and is going to bless the sense organs so that they can function and producing data to the mind, and the mind integrates that and says that's is the experience, and it's that determination is subject to error as well, such as the sky is blue, for example. Therefore, mind is superior to the sense organs. Yes, of course. Therefore, Krishna says, I am the mind among the sense organs. Therefore, if you want to invoke the Lord, you can use the sense organs as well. But the mind is a higher symbol, subtler symbol. Okay, it's no wonder a lot of people feels people who are not really in contact with the Vedas still they have a attraction to try to understand the mind through meditation, watching the mind, seeing the thoughts and the feelings and sensations. So the mind is a better symbol. That's why Taittiriya Upanishad and other Upanishads, mind meditation is very prevalent. We will be seeing in Taittiriya Upanishad. Yeah, one day if we don't leave this body before. Okay. Swami gives us a hint. You visualize your mind and learn to see the mind itself as the greatest manifestation of the Lord. This is a good way to see the mind, rather than being caught up with, oh, look at the pattern of thoughts here. Look at these feelings and emotions, oh my God, I'm being so positive, so negative, and this feels good. No, just overall see the mind, learn to see it as glorious manifestation, great manifestation of the Lord. The more you think of the capacity of the mind, this is kind of nididhyasana, on the glory, on saguna nature. You see the thing with meditation in Vedanta is not just about bringing the mind to one object, focus, but it is to reflect, contemplate, learn to think of the mind as this incredible tool, wonder at the glory of the Lord manifesting as the mind. Therefore, I am the mind in everyone. And in every living being, I am in the form of the very life. So now he's going beyond the mind here. The mind here is integrated intellect, putting all together. He's not breaking it in two. But beyond the mind, I am in the form of very, very sentience, which is the most mysterious thing in the creation. So, meaning to say, we are human beings. There are other beings such as ants and spiders and rats. So we can see that they are alive. They are living beings, and they are sentient, and they are aware of the environment. They know how to move around, trying to survive and to find food and procreate. So this sentience is the most mysterious thing. It's something unbelievable. And all this talk of AI that they are already sentient, or if they're going to become sentient, makes no sense to me. Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand AI. But anyhow, so God creates human sentience is the most unbelievable, glorious thing, and even compute scientists will not understand. I hope they can understand the difference between true sentience and this fake sentience of the AI, if it ever comes to play. Scientists of all hoops and colors have tried to find what this sentience is and what exactly is death, life and death. They are yet to understand these two extreme, two opposition. Even though they claim to understand all the rest, what more is there other than these two? They should be focused on trying to understand what? The mind, the pranas, this vital air that vivifies the body. Once it leaves, the body is over, but they don't think in those terms. They think in materials, more dense things, such as energy and matter. When they think, oh, no, I'm a specialist now in the mind, and no, you are a psychologist. You are just becoming expert into the patterns of thoughts within the mind and kinds of behavior and attitudes that are developed due to these, patterns of thoughts and behavior and words. So nobody goes deep enough to appreciate these mysterious things such as the mind, the pranas. We do not know exactly what life is. Nobody will ever know. Of course, our human intellect can never know things about meteor. It's only the Lord, the supreme intelligence, the omniscient principle knows everything about meteor, from the most dense aspects to the most subtle, such as the mind and the intellect. So we cannot understand these things. But we Jiva Atmas can understand something else, which is very simple. Huh? And it's the only understanding or knowledge that is going to free us from the sense of insecurity and incompletion, vulnerability, and finitude, and so on. Because of which, we don't know exactly what life is. We don't know exactly what death is. This mysterious life and death is something that it's always present, and we can see it in very minutest prani that most probably insects, maybe. Always I wonder, sometimes when you read a book or newspaper, Between two lines, there is a little insect. It's so small. It seems to be almost just a dot. So, but if you put your fingers in front, it will run in the other direction. And then you will see, oh, it's a living dot. It's a living thing, creature. So there is inside of that little thing, a little dot, there is digestion system, there is a mind, there is reproductive system. My God, unbelievable. It has a causal body with all instincts to survive, to give it a sense of security. Everything is there in that small little dot. And human beings have never been able to create not even such a small microorganism. We can easily kill an insect, but we are not able to create one unicellular organism that demonstrates the glory of life. All of this is a manifestation of the Lord, and that is why for us, ahimsa, para moda maha. So it's the most fundamental Dharma principle is no violence, no killing. That which you did not create, you cannot create. Therefore, let's not destroy it. But as it seems, our aim is not to destroy life, and that's why we prescribe vegetarianism. Thank you, Swamiji, for reminding me, because vegetarianism, the destruction of life is minimal. Avoid killing himself, or at least minimize it. I know it's almost inevitable, but reduce it to the minimum within your context of life. When you are taking vegetables, plants are not destroyed or killed. Therefore, the injury is minimal. That's a good example of what he means by minimal. So there are some people that go to the extreme of not take anything from the plants. They let it fall, but more often than not, the insects and the birds are going to eat it all before it falls on the ground, even the fruits. There are some rishis who do not want to practice even that. He's going to talk about that. He waits for things to fall on the ground when it's half rotten. Then they eat whatsoever is left. And why do we value life to this extreme? Because Christians say that this is me. I am this mysterious glory, principle, intelligence manifests itself as vegetables, animals, fruits, insects, and all other creatures that sometimes, we even try to kill them because they're stopping our vegetative garden from growing. So I was talking to someone not long ago about the problem with ants around here where I live, Mark, and the guy I was giving him a ride to Alto Paraíso, and then I was talking and about but it's very difficult. I have a problem with, oh yes, of course, ants is a huge problem. It's a very difficult problem. Blah, 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 blah. And he say, oh, no, I lift it all up and I do small little things in box of woods, but then there are birds, there is a bird, there is the. He says very difficult. But and then I see, yeah, sometimes we have to use a little bit of poison to reduce the population of the ants. And I say, oh no, this is bad karma. And I was not expecting Mark because the guy was looking somehow straight. Oh no, this is karma, man. Don't kill them. you know. And I almost asked him, so how about the cockroach that lives in your cabin? Are you killing them or not? The rats, and the mosquitoes sucking your blood. So anyhow, I am Shankaracharya among the Rudras. I am Kubera among the Yakshas, and I am Rakhsasas. I am Agni among the Vasus. I am the Meru among the peaked mountains. So Shankara among the Rudras. So remind me, tell me what is Rudras? I forgot this.
I think they're just one of those groups of devatas. Wait, I may be wrong. I don't know. Let's read.
Yeah, because here Shankaraha does not mean our Shankaracharya, no? It may mean something because it's the same name that. Let's see what Swami says here. So Jivadasa Aditya have been mentioned before. That's why Surya Namaskara also they do 12 Namaskaras, blah, 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 for each month, no? I have seen that. So the Vadasa Adityas are worship every day, and now Krishna comes to Ekadasa Hudraha, all 11 Hudras. So another Puranic story here. 11 Rudras are enumerated in the scriptures, and that is when we have got Rudra Ekadasini. And then you have to chant 11 times. You invoke Rudra in the 11 pots and so on. This is a ritual, Vedic ritual. And the most important of these 11, 11 Rudras in 11 pots. The most important of these Rudras is Shankaraha. So I'm curious to know what it's Shankaraha here goes for. So they enumerate all the names. In each one, middle one is kept and 10 around. And then puja is done. So it's just explaining the ritual of this puja. And then why I am Shankaraha? Why Shankaraha? From the meaning itself, you will know Shankaraha means the most auspicious. We saw in the Upanishad class some no mitra, some varanaha, some means mangalam. Therefore, Shankaraha means mangala karta, rudraha, as aham, as me. And what do you mean by mangala karta? Mangala means Ananda. Remember, Mangala means Ananda. Okay, and that's why the very word Rudra means the one who removes sorrow. Rus, Rus means sorrow, crying, of course. So knowledge is the only remedy to remove sorrow and grief, suffering. So I think Shankara here is present as the source of knowledge that removes sorrow, crying. In some house, always somebody or the other would be always crying. That is a mangalam. That is the opposite of peace and happiness. Mangalam here means Ananda. Amangala means the opposite of peace and happiness. So Rudra is going to remove the A from Amangala so that you can enjoy your true nature as Ananda. Rudra removes the crying from the family. So they do this ritual so that nobody suffers in the family. Okay? Wherever Rudra Parayanam takes place, crying goes away, grief goes away, and therefore he's called Dunka Nasaka. And by way of that, he brings happiness, peace, satisfaction, Ananda. Therefore, I am Sankaraha, which seems to be a symbol of the only thing that can remove the suffering, which is knowledge. So suffering manifest due to ignorance. And Sa.kara seems to be a symbol, something that symbolizes knowledge given by a guru.
I looked up the etymology of the term Shankara, and Shanka, it could be two ways, as often is the case with these Sanskrit words. Shanka being the word for doubt, and Hara being a destroyer. So destroyer of doubt. Or Shan can also mean good or auspicious, as we've seen in this text. And Kara, the maker of auspiciousness. So
Yeah,
either way,
beautiful.
it's wonderful.
Yeah. And the first one is in those lines of removing, you said removing what? Can you
Doubt.
repeat it?
Remove
Doubt.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Doubt. Yeah. Which is a form of ignorance. Yeah. Another group of devatas called Yaksha and Rakshasa, and some others in this loka, they say they are all various they are all various types of devatas, citizens of the heavenly world. So many varieties, colonies, and among these people, aham vitesa. So I am vitesa. Vitesa means Kubera, the one who proceeds over hells. So this is the deity that presides the house of the bodies. Everybody in India knows, because everybody wants to have a health body or to heal those illness.
My text says wealth.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, not health, wealth. Yeah. Yeah. So people are interested in wealth and health, big time. They want to live forever and they want to be rich while living forever. Now that's the ultimate dream. In Badrinath, there is a place for Kubera. And there is a belief that if you keep a coin in Kubera, Kubera's hand and take and keep that coin in your safe, it will multiply. Okay. Come on, Swamiji. Enough about these samsaric things. Of course, we don't condemn the desire for wealth. So therefore, that's also another point. So if these things, they go for people on their own different stages of development. Some people, they worship uh, money, wealth, health, and very few people worship knowledge, especially self-knowledge. So, but we do not condemn any of that. All of that is important for people in their own stage. The next important group of devatas is Astavasavaha. 8 presiding over the 8 directions. So among the Astavasas, I am Agni Devata. So Agni Devata, the greatest purifier. So Agni, because he is the greatest purifier, Punati or Pavaya, in the relative sense also, if you want to purify anything, you need to apply heat, fire, If you want to purify your food, especially in the old days, you would keep boiling the food, applying fire. If you have to remove impurities of the water, you boil the water. So the best way, even now, a purification of water there in India, is to boil the water. So nowadays, people learn that it's no good to kill the water with too much boiling, but it may be better than drinking that kind of toxic kind of water, like in India. You want to get sick, you go there and you start drinking water on the street. It's contaminated. And this surgeon, if they want to purify their instruments, they have to apply fire or some other things such as alcohol. No? Again, they have to eat. If you have to dispose the body, you have to burn it so that no disease is transmitted. So you take to the cremation ground and apply fire. This is the best method to purify. If you want to purify your clothes and other things, you just make a fire. Or you can just hang it in the sun. That's a less dramatic thing. So Agni is a good purifier, as we know, in the old days especially. We see those old moves from 1,000 years ago. They would just get a metal and then, just imagine that we had passed by those experiences, but thanks God, we don't remember. Among all the mountains, I am the peaks, the Himalayas. I am the Meru Parvatam. Meru is a Parvatam described in the Puranas, not only Puranas, even in the Vedas. Some people say the Himalayas is another name for the Meru. There are some other people who say that the North Pole, there is a mountain called Meru. So we don't discuss about that, I think Swamiji is going to say. This is irrelevant. Get the notion, get the concept. So Himalaya is a good symbol of the highest and most beautiful peaks, mountains. The sun will be going around certain mountains, but if you go to Norway, you'll not enjoy that in the summer or in the winter. Okay, this is irrelevant, it's discussion. No, the Meru is there in Norway, in the Scandinavian country, and so on. So don't get caught up with those things. This is all symbolism. If you want to do pilgrimage, go for it. So people do what they do. People, they like to do pilgrimage. I had a situation with one of my students in Portuguese, and I appreciate this lady because she's very well educated in the field of science, psychiatry, or some other things like that. And she got into Vedanta, and she's full on all of that. And the other day she mentioned to me that, and I was like, wow, this woman seems to be highly qualified and so on. And then she writes me, oh, I'm going to be away for some time because I'm going to do some pilgrimages. And I'm learning to be a pilgrimage leader. I am an aspirant to become a pilgrimage leader and so on. And then I look and say, oh my God, I thought she was beyond that. But, everyone must do what they gotta do. Okay, Arjuna, know me as Brihaspati, the foremost among priests. I am Skanda among the commanders. And so it's going to go this way for a little bit. And then it's beautiful if you guys bear with me, helping me. It's good to read into this and get a sense of this Puranic, Vedic mythological symbols and stories, you know, and but it's not something we want to do, but we can appreciate it, right? Okay, so Mark, are you with us next week?
No, I won't be here next week, but the following week and from then onwards, I should be here. Yeah.
So next week we don't have you any day.
No, no, because I finish. Um. No, I don't. No, I won't because I'll be doing on the evening shift, so I won't be here at all next week. But then that
Well,
will be
that's
it. From
okay.
then on, I should be able to
Just
attend.
to know if there was a possibility of us shifting things around. Okay, so we meet again Monday and Tuesday as usual. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate Om Shanti 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 Om Om Ishvara, as Mark says, Namaste. We meet again soon. Ishvara willing. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Alinda. Great to
Thank-
see you again. Great to attend the class again. So.
See you again.